Hello and welcome to That Fabric Guy. My name is Bas Land, and this week, like any other week, I will be teaching you things about Microsoft Fabric. And today we're not necessarily going to teach you something, but I will be looking at something fun that I thought about, and that is how we can pitch Claude versus ChatGPT. This has been done before on the internet by about everybody, but I will be doing it in the context of writing notebooks for Microsoft Fabric. I will pitch both LLMs together and have them have a competition between each other to see if I can get a one prompt answer to the question how I can integrate Moneybird, which is a Dutch accounting software with a great API, how I can integrate data from Moneybird into Microsoft Fabric. I have written a prompt and I will blindly follow the answers that are coming from that one single prompt, and then we will conclude from that which LLM is the best for writing Microsoft Fabric notebooks from a single prompt. So let's do this competition. Let's dive right into my laptop. All right, we're looking at my laptop screen here, and on the left side I have put ChatGPT. On the right side I have Claude, and Claude is a little bit easier to read the prompt here because it's larger. I cannot zoom in more than what I did for ChatGPT. So let's look at the right side. I will tell the LLMs the same thing. I will give both the same prompt, and I will give both the most opportunity to give me an answer. So I will be using the thinking mode on ChatGPT, and I will be using the Opus model on Claude. Now the prompt is: I am a data engineer working with Microsoft Fabric. My task is to extract data from Moneybird, a Dutch accounting software. They have a good API for which the documentation can be found here. I want to set up an extract mechanism to get data out of Moneybird. It should run fully in notebooks and follow the principles of dry, metadata-driven orchestration, and the solution should be secure. Tell me exactly what to do. Begin with an explanation of your proposal, then give me the code. I will just copy-paste the code in a notebook to run it and to see whether it works. You will be scored on the completeness, ease of use, and the use of the principles laid out above. Let's try both. And now both LLMs are running, and let's see what's going on. And while these are running, I will. Both are now super busy looking at the authentication, pagination, etc. And let's go to my Google Chrome here. What I've done is I've created a notebook connected to OneLake. I created a new empty lakehouse called Moneybird AI Test, where I put in two cells, one for ChatGPT, one for Claude. And I will be just copy pasting the code from the LLM into my notebook without any changes. With one exception, I will be putting the data that I'm going to receive in a folder or in a schema, depending on what the LLM is suggesting. I will be putting it in a folder or schema indicating ChatGPT or Claude so that we know which data is coming from where. It will take a little bit of time probably for the LLMs to find out what to do, because this is an elaborate task. They need to read documentation, they need to find out the principles, they need to give me something that I can work with, and this is not a very simple task. It seems that ChatGPT is the first one to actually start giving me an answer. It has been thinking for a minute 14. We'll go for a bearer token authorization. That's fine, that is secure enough. It will do endpoints, blah, 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 and it is a copy, paste, and run code that it will give me. It will integrate Key Vault through MS Spark utils. That's nice. Everything else is metadata driven. That's also nice. Okay, I see that ChatGPT is writing functions using def in Python. So it will parse next link. It will have a function for get JSON, and it will attempt to get data. If it encounters a 4 to 9 status code, which means that we're doing too much at the same time, we will be throttled. It will do a retry after a certain number of seconds. This all looks quite elaborate, and this is impressive stuff. This on the first look of it, it looks all right. At the same time, Claude is still thinking what to do. It's pivoting towards a streamlined solution architecture, so it is still in the architecting phase of the solution, while ChatGPT is already busy programming. And then again, I will be just copy pasting stuff. I will not be trying to fix this code. That video will then take hours and hours and hours. So we will just be copy pasting and see which LLM gets there the fastest. The only thing I will do manually that I'm thinking of right now is here in the code I see constants or variables, constants with a key vault name, secret name. I will create those, and I will be looking at how we can use lakehouse target schemas and so on. So I will be putting in something here in order to land the data in the correct location. Other than that, I will just copy paste and do nothing. Okay, ChatGPT already created the metadata-driven configuration, and let's see, it created contacts and sales invoices, and something we can enable later. Okay, that's all right. I think that's acceptable for a first pass. Administration discovery, extraction logic. This is the orchestrator. This is quite cool. And then it starts doing the run. It will even tell me when the run started. And then for every admin ID that we have access to with our Verito, this is actually quite cool. It will even put in watermarks for the certain entities, for the certain tables. This is probably to do incremental runs. So if this all works, it will be quite interesting, quite amazing. All right, let's first go to our key vault. We go to our demo capacity and then Kimura key vault demo, and then we will find the objects, secrets, and then there's our MB secrets. So this is all cool. This will work. All right, let's copy over the ChatGPT version of our code. This is looking all right, so we will just simply copy and paste this in here. We will then need to put in our key vault name, and this is something I think is not going to work. I think we need the key vault URI, but let's copy in the key vault name like it suggests, and then we put in MB secret because that's our API token name. We will change this to ChatGPT. All right. And then I don't think there is anything we need to configure in here. It should probably all work. So let's see if we can run this without any errors. If we can run it without any errors, that should be very cool. I mean, the solution itself looks quite complete. It's metadata driven, it's secure, via key vault. That looks cool. But let's see if it actually works. And we're not going to bug fix, we're not going to do anything. And unfortunately, it's not going to work. From notebook utils, import MS Spark utils. I think this is something that is not going all right. It should be a URI indeed, and not a key vault name. Filter read token. Either fix key vault config or set use key vault as false and provide the environment variable. Well, we're not going to do that. Okay, so I told you that we're not going to debug, but I think we should be able to give ChatGPT the benefit of the doubt here and put in not just the key vault name, but the key vault URI. And then run it again, because this was an easy mistake, and I've been working with this key vault integration in a previous video, and I saw that the Microsoft documentation was not up to date. It was referring to a key vault name where the function actually expects the key vault URI. So I will give ChatGPT the benefit of the doubt here and see whether it works if we change that. It is actually finding an administration, that this is a test administration, and it's actually extracting data. So it looks like that our one prompt pass is actually working. That's amazing. That's really cool. Let's see if we can refresh already. There is a schema called ChatGPT already here, and then there's tables in here as well. So we are done. We can now actually query those tables. That's amazing. That's really cool. Let's put in some code to see whether we can actually query. Select star from ChatGPT dot moneybird contacts bronze. That seems to work. It didn't unpack the payload JSON, so it would have been nice if the payload itself was actually unpacked, because the contact information is in the object called payload JSON. So unpacking this JSON document should be what we need to do. And then moneybird state, what will that contain? Let's check that. It will contain the watermark UTC timestamp for the entity context that we just extracted. So this is actually quite cool. This means that we can do incremental refreshing. Overall, I would say I'm quite happy with what ChatGPT gave me. The mistake it made was because the documentation is not up to speed. That's a mistake that I would have made as well. And the only reason I could fix it was because I ran into this before. Let's refresh this again, because there is no sales invoices. Why not? There's 0 records for sales invoices in this demo administration. So actually this is quite cool, and I'm quite impressed. The only thing that could have been better was if our context was actually expanded, where the, let's see here, from moneybird context bronze, it would have been extremely impressive if it had figured out that the payload JSON contains the actual data. But then again, this is a one prompt pass. I did not give it any information on this. So ChatGPT did a very good job in writing some notebook cell to extract data out of Moneybird. Impressive. Let's see what our friend Claude is coming up with. Let's make our screen a little bit bigger here. So this is my prompt. It will give me the full explanation first and the file, how this works, architecture in one sentence, single metadata config table, security. This is going through Azure Key Vault. Yes, this is all very nice. You just need to change the Key Vault name. This is probably the same thing that we're running into. As with ChatGPT, will probably be the same issue here. Dry principle, Moneybird client, write to Lakehouse, blah, 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 blah. I will believe this. And then here we have a Python code that we can simply try to copy and paste. Let's see how that's going on. Let's copy and paste. And people have been, I've been working with ChatGPT for quite a few years now, actually. People are very, very happy about Claude for coding, and I want to try it. I bought the pro version of Claude, so I'm paying for both tools, both LLMs at this time. And let's see if we are as equally impressed by Claude as we are with ChatGPT. So prerequisites, a Moneybird personal API token, we have done that. Moneybird administration ID, we have created an admin ID. We should give it the admin ID, I think, from this prerequisite list, whereas ChatGPT was trying to figure out what admin IDs we actually have access to. So that would have been a little bit better. So that's 1+ for ChatGPT right now. And then if Fabric Lakehouse attached uses default Lakehouse, we have that. So that's really cool. So this prereq list is actually complete. That's nice. How it works? Yes, split into cells. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. And we will import stuff. That looks good. Put the key vault name here. I will put the key vault URI there because I will assume that is going to fill with just the key vault name. Let's give it that. And then with key vault name and then Moneybird API token, we rename this to MB token. Claude has no way to actually know what this admin ID is. So then we go to our Moneybird and we go to, no, not to the gegevens here. We can just take the stuff from the URL here and let's put in just our administration ID like this. It's not in Key Vault. Let's give it a hard-coded. That's fine for now. Lakehouse table prefix, we call this Claude. Yeah, Claude. That should be all right. And that's all fine. It is actually giving me all the tables that are available in the Moneybird API. So where ChatGPT was a little bit better already with figuring out what administrations we have access to with our token, Claude is a little bit better in actually giving us a solution for every endpoint that there is in the documentation. So that's really nice. Authentication is there. Request will be done. If the status code is throttling, then we will do a retry. This sounds really cool. There's pagination in here that's in the documentation, and the fact that Claude read that is a plus. ChatGPT did the same thing. Records will be flattened. Writing to the lakehouse will be done. And then we have the orchestrator and we will run the extraction. This all looks quite cool. Let's run the Claude version and see what we can come up with. And we come up with an error. Secret not found. And it is... Okay, so maybe this is actually MB token. MB token is not the name. It should be MB secret, I think. Yes. Okay, so this is not an error by Claude. This is an error by me. My apologies. The name here is MB secrets. Let's run that again. Okay, now actually it has found a lot of stuff to do. There are some data type errors. There are some empty records. I mean, that's fine. I can see why that's going on. There were also some client errors not found for URL. So this is actually a failure to read the documentation properly. Cannot determine type, not found for URL. Okay, so there's actually a few errors in here. There is some OKs without records. There's quite a lot of failures. More than half of the endpoints failed. That's not really cool. And then again, it didn't give me any data because context is empty. That's strange. Context should contain data. So let's find out what's going on here. Found 5 IDs through the synchronization endpoint. That's cool. 5 total records. That's cool. And then it ran into an error, cannot determine data type after inferring. Okay, so I would think that in conclusion, for ChatGPT, it gave us code and it worked as a single pass. It did not completely put in all the endpoints. However, the endpoints that we got were actually extracted successfully. We got contacts. One remark that I would make there is that the contacts were not complete. So it should have unpacked the JSON payload. It should have seen that data maybe in the documentation and then gave me the unpacked data there, because that's actually the data set that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the root of the JSON document. However, it was a one pass, and except for the faulty documentation on the key vault, it had nothing, there was no need for me to interfere with the code that I got. Then Claude took a lot longer to find a solution. That is not a problem, but if you're using this LLM to code during the day and you're waiting for it a long time, then it can be a downside of using one versus the other. Now, I do realize that I put in Claude Opus, which is the largest, heaviest model. And if we would have put ChatGPT on the research level, I think it is called, that would have taken a long time as well. So maybe it's not really fair to do that. Now with Claude, it correctly identified that we should be getting 23 entities to get out of Moneybird. That's actually correct. It read the documentation and that was perfect. The only thing is I got 0 data in my lakehouse, and that is not what I asked it to do. I asked it to extract data out of Moneybird. It did not do that. It found for a few of the entities, it found that there were IDs to extract. It had 5 IDs in context, but it did fail to infer the correct data types, and therefore it could not download the data. It also found 3 sales invoices, failed to get data. It found recurring sales invoices. It failed to extract that data. So overall, I'm, for this test, more impressed with ChatGPT at this point in time than with Claude. However, the AI landscape is changing really quickly. For writing tasks, I tend to use Claude more than ChatGPT because it sounds more natural and more human-like. It's less AI-y in its writing. For code, people are super happy with Claude, but for a single pass, I'm more impressed with ChatGPT at this moment. Now, I do realize in practice, it will probably not be a single pass. It will be a step-by-step process in which I will tell the AI to do parts of the process. I will tell it to plan ahead and then give me parts of the solution. It will fail for things like this. I will give it the reason it failed. It will go back and forth. So it will probably come up with a solution that's working. Today, the test was a battle going head to head between ChatGPT and Claude. And I have to admit, I wanted Claude to win as the underdog, but ChatGPT was clearly the winner for today's tasks. Thank you for watching this. If you liked this video, then press like, give me a thumbs up, and even better, give me a follow on my channel. By following me on my channel, you will never miss any video again, and you will be signaling YouTube that you like my content so YouTube can push it out to more and more people. I will see you next week because every week I will teach you about Microsoft Fabric. See you then.